This is a totally biased review on OM Systems' brand new flagship camera, the OM-1. OM-1, a name that resonates deep inside my heart, not just as a photographer, but as a father. 50 years ago, my dad, under the recommendation of a known journalist in Hong Kong, bought a Japanese SLR. He bought it with one intention: to capture photographs of the woman he loved, my mother. And this camera, the OM-1, as he told me, was compact and reliable. And it traveled around him when he followed my mother during her beauty pageant campaign. He was not a professional by any means, nor he was a knowledgeable amateur. But it became obvious that this period was his happiest, especially when he saw the photographs he took of my mother when she won the pageant. Sadly though, he never continued his photography journey after I was born. He did use the camera for a few more years, capturing me growing up. But by the time my brother arrived, the camera was buried inside an old box and never saw the light again. But that photograph that my father took of my mother remains a centerpiece in my family.
Many years later, I continued what my father started, a journey in photography that he would have been proud of. I even became an ambassador for Olympus in 2019. A news that made him so proud that almost brought tears to his eyes. He felt that it almost went a whole circle, and I was blessed with a task to complete this journey. Regretfully, my dad passed away a year later due to illness, and he never had a chance to see the new OM-1, a camera with a name that started a photographic journey that implicates love and life.
50 years. 50 years to complete a circle of life, for the OM-1 to be reborn. And I'm standing here, holding this brand new digital camera from OM Digital Solution. It is, without a doubt, that this camera isn't anything like the original, at least from the outset. Yet, it was a brave and bold move for the company to resurrect an iconic name in the photographic industry. And even more so, to me, as it was part of my family history.
However, just like my father and I, despite we are two individuals from different era, we share the same DNA, spirit, and even smiles. The new OM-1 may look different and being 50 years younger, but it shares the same philosophy and spirit of the original. Because both cameras have the same names, to avoid confusion in this video, I will refer the original 1972 OM-1 as the OG. So, the original OM-1, the OG, was one of the most significant SLR developments in the early 70s. It was a compact and reliable full mechanical professional cameras. The latest OM-1 shares many of its traits. Despite its larger physical attributes, it's still a compact camera. As to reliability, well, I will have no second doubt that the new OM-1 will surpass any previous Olympus records. With full magnesium body and IPX53 sealing, it's as tough as a military armor vehicle. And with a mechanical shutter life of 400,000 actuation, it will probably still function when my future grandson graduates from university.
My dad often reminded me that his OG had one of the biggest and brightest viewfinders, second only to the legendary Leica M3. It was his window to the world he saw. This is exactly the reason why photographers treasure the quality of the viewfinder, and many considered it to be as important as the lens itself. And just like the original, the new OM-1 also features one of the best electronic viewfinders on the market. With 5.76 million pixels and 120 frames per second refresh rate, it is sharp, contrasty, and lifelike accurate. And this EVF is as good as you can get in a premium modern digital mirrorless camera.
The OG was also touted as one of the simplest cameras to use, and the new OM-1 may not be the simplest in its class, mainly due to its sheer amount of features that can be listed as long as an encyclopedia. But it certainly is one of the most intuitive to use. The new camera also has a revamped menu system that makes it even quicker to use and easier to accustom to.
Being a 2022 camera, this also means that the OM-1 has a host of automations that will help you get your shots quicker and better. The new 1053-point all-cross type hybrid AF points is over 80% more than the last generation of Olympus cameras, and it is completely new. The AI subject tracking from the OM-1X is included, but has been revamped and vastly improved, together with a new mode for animals, and the latter has made me more keen to try photographing the bird and the four-legged things.
While I'm on the subject of autofocus system, the OM-1 has improved its low light sensitivity to -6 EV when using OM's 1.2 Pro lenses, a whole stop better than the previous flagship, the OM-1 Mark III. And this is significant for those who need to use autofocus in tricky lighting situations. Continuous AF has also improved. The extreme fast readout from the brand new BSI stack sensor, coupled with the all-new TruePic X image processor, you can now have CAF enabled at up to 50 frames per second in normal sequential burst or Pro Capture, which is significant for those extreme high-speed moment photography. So, I just mentioned the new BSI stack sensor and the TruePic X processor. Let's talk about them. Previous OM-1 series has always been about speed, and the OM-1 is no exception. While the BSI stack sensor had the same resolution as the previous two generations of Olympus cameras, the signal readout speed has vastly increased. The camera can do a full sensor scan at 120 frames per second now, resulting in 3 times faster AF speed and supports high-speed continuous focus as I mentioned earlier. The TruePic X processor is also one of the most powerful on the market. It has 6 times more computational power than the previous best, the TruePic 9 in the OM-1 Mark III. This not only helps the general responsiveness of the camera and speed, but also makes its new AI subject tracking better and more accurate. Yes, the AI. There's also an all-new AI noise reduction feature built into the system, giving you cleaner and more usable high ISO JPEG images. This extreme speed, coupled with the improved body stabilization, makes better handheld high-res and live composite possible. The processing speed of these images have been halved, so we can move on to the next shot that much quicker. All that I just said contributes to just one thing: capturing better photographs. And after a full month of professional use, I can concur many things about the OM-1 when it comes to image quality. First, color accuracy is now even better, but not just at low ISO, but also at higher sensitivity settings. And one of the best improvements over any previous Olympus cameras is its ability to retain details. At low ISO, there's a noticeable increase in sharpness, even though the new OM-1 has the same resolution as the OM-1 Mark III. At high ISO settings, this increased sharpness and details continues, resulting in a much higher retention rate than any previous Micro Four Thirds cameras with the same pixel density. And color accuracy at extreme high ISO is also very impressive and unmatched in any Micro Four Thirds cameras to date. And I won't show you any charts or numbers, and rather just show you some of the images I've taken over the past month. As much as a photographer's tool, The new OM-1 is also a very capable video camera for hybrid photographers who make video content. You all know that I shoot videos these days, not just for YouTube, but also commercially for brands and private clients across the globe. My most used video cameras are both the EM1X and the EM1 Mark III. So you can almost assume that I'm as excited as an happy goat when I learn about the OM-1 has some significant advancement over these cameras I just mentioned. Most notably is the ability to shoot at 4K resolution in 10-bit, internal without any limit. The OM-1 has also raised the bar in video frame rate, now with up to 60p in 4K DCI and UHD, and up to 240p at 4HD. I can be more creative than ever before. And for those who are interested in HDR content, well, hybrid log gamma or HLG format is now supported too. If that's not enough, and if you're a very serious indie filmmaker, you can now have external 422 12-bit RAW recording with Atomos Ninja 5 series. The number is only one thing. And what do they actually mean? I'm not in any position to justify my statement and conclusion to how I feel about the new OM-1, nor to convince or influence you to buy this camera. You see, I have not talked about many features that this camera has, like focus stacking, pro capture, Starry Sky AF, handheld high-res, live ND, and many more. This video only highlights functions that matter to me. OM Digital Solutions have produced a series of videos explaining all these new features individually, so you can gain more insight to what the new OM-1 can do for your photography.
I already said that this is my biased review of the brand new OM-1. It is undoubtedly the best Micro Four Thirds camera to date. It is also the fastest Micro Four Thirds ever. It is definitely a wow camera that OM Digital Solutions promised me last year.
With that said, this is the end of my video, and I do have a wish. I wish my father is here to see the new OM-1, and for me to take a photograph of him with a camera that bears a name that started a family photographic journey 50 years ago. Peace.